I want to, for all the English-speaking audience and for the also read the proclamation. The declaration of the new federal state of China on 4 June 2020 in Beijing. This is the preface. It is the whistleblowers movement that has brought us together in order to realize the rule of law, democracy, and freedom in the new federal state of China. The free Chinese throughout the world and in China have established the Himalaya Supervising Organization. During the past 3 years, Mr. Miles Guo and myself have founded and led the whistleblowers movement that exposed the illegitimacy and the true evil nature of the Chinese Communist Party and its deceptions. The Himalaya Supervising Organization is a voluntary, non-governmental organization with no political affiliations at all. It is recognized by international community and protected by international law, along with the Rule of Law Foundation, the Rule of Law Society. It will serve as a bridge of communications between the new federal state of China and the international communities in the areas of cooperation, defending people and freedom, and protecting the security of assets on the basis of common development and mutual respect among the people of the whole world. Now, the mission of the new federal state of China and the Supervisory Commission is to take down the Chinese Communist Party. The Chinese Communist Party is a gangster organization with no legitimacy, funded by the Communist International, which has subverted the legitimate Chinese government in the past. The totalitarian rule in China has caused horrific atrocities against humanity, total disregard for human rights, the destruction of humanity, trampled over democracy, violated the rule of law, dishonored lawful agreements, caused great bloodshed in Hong Kong, and has exported corruption across the entire globe. Recently, it unleashed a biological attack on the free countries of the world, the CCP virus, through their incompetence and their corruption and their cover-up. The COVID-19 virus, which poses a serious threat to the health and survival of all human beings. The crimes the Chinese Communist Party has committed are too heinous to be tolerated any further. The elimination of the Chinese Communist Party is essential in breaking the shackles of slavery imposed on the Chinese people, and also in bringing about peace to the international community and all mankind. The new federal state of China, as a country without the Chinese Communist Party, will be able to fulfill the needs and aspirations of the Chinese people, as well as to ensure the future prosperity of China and the rest of the world. Now, the vision of the new federal state of China is laid out by the drafting committee for the new state. It is suggested the new federal state of China should draw up a constitution in reference to the democratic and legal systems of the West and any relevant international laws. It should be conducted under the supervision of international institutions and the Himalaya Supervising Organization. Government bodies will be established according to the principle of one person, one vote, and the separation of executive branch, legislative bodies, and judicial systems. An electoral and impeachment system should be set up in coexistence to ensure the efficiency of operations, so to avoid substantial social chaos and disasters brought about by the rule of man, not the rule of law. The new constitution will include the following protections. Number one, human rights, the rule of law, freedom of religion, freedom of speech, and private property rights, including land reform, which are sacred and inviolable. Number two, the new federal state of China will endeavor to promote permanent peaceful relationships and seek common development with people throughout the entire world. Number three, legislation will be enacted that guarantees educational opportunities, retirement pensions, and health care, which are basic needs for the welfare of the people. Education plays a vital role in a country's progress, and thus the new federal state of China and the Himalaya Supervising Organization must strive to expand investment in the overall education system, draw valuable lessons and practices from the West, respect teachers at all levels, and ensure education is compulsory and non-discriminatory. Number 4, protections for natural environments and animal habitats so that all life can coexist harmoniously. Number 5, regarding relationships with Hong Kong, Macau, Tibet, and other regions, the new federal state of China will promulgate a special autonomy ordinance as soon as possible and strictly enforce those rules. Taiwan should remain in its current status and enjoy expanded trade and steady development while achieving common prosperity with the new federal state of China. And other 6, the new federal state of China will immediately, upon its execution in Beijing, confiscate and recover all assets that have been plundered by the kleptocrats within the Chinese Communist Party and return that wealth to the Chinese people. I want to repeat this one for everyone watching in Beijing particularly, that the new federal state of China will confiscate immediately and recover all assets that were plundered by the kleptocrats within the Chinese Communist Party and return that wealth immediately to the Chinese people. Number 7, they will grant amnesty to all prisoners after the establishment of the new federal state of China, except for criminals who have committed capital murder or crimes against humanity. Now, the mission of the Himalaya Supervisory Organization in this announcement of the establishment of the new federal state of China, the Himalaya Supervisory Organization solemnly pledges, in view of the fact that the Chinese Communist Party still holds the state power to exercise various methods of extreme control over the innocent people of China, the Himalaya Supervising Organization will make all preparations for the formation of the federal state of China with outreach efforts. It will actively liaison with various countries, political parties, associations, international bodies, and international friends and colleagues, supporting the establishment of the new federal state of China and coordinate relationships. It will guide and assist the preparation of the new government and ensure the smooth, effective, and steady progress of the preparation of the new federal state of China. The Himalaya Supervising Organization will collaborate with international supervisory organizations to oversee the operations of the new federal state of China according to the law. The Himalaya Supervisory Organization complies with both international law and the laws made by the new federal state of China and accepts strict supervision from relevant international legal institutions. Mr. Miles Guo is the leader of the whistleblower movement. Mr. Kyle Bass is the Rule of Law Foundation chairman. I am the Rule of Law Society chairman, and there will be many others named to the supervisory committee in the immediate future. I want to talk about some of the appendixes to this proclamation. One is the Himalaya Supervisory Organization. The founding principles of the Himalaya Supervising Organization are defending the security, wealth, freedom, and dignity of the Chinese people, together with the international community, safeguarding the future of the Chinese people, and contributing to the peace of the new federal state of China and the world in the next millennium. Himalaya stands for democracy, rule of law, and freedom of people in China. Established on the basics of the Rule of Law Foundation, the Rule of Law Society, the Himalaya Supervisory Organization is a non-governmental organization that has substantial legitimate, composed of designated personnel, and protected by international law. It will always serve as a third party to build a platform and bridge between the new federal state of China without the Chinese Communist Party and the world to achieve everlasting peace, openness, and transparency, in compliance with law-abiding rules and open cooperation. It will also work closely with other countries in the developing ecosystem and encompassing law, media, culture, and finance, and will explore and advance internet technologies to increase transparency in the democratic system and reduce political and economic costs associated with its operation. As a nonprofit organization based overseas, the Himalaya Supervising Organization will be bound by stringent regulations ratified jointly by the United States and the new federal state of China government when elected, wherein penalty mechanisms will be established in order to guarantee a long-lasting, effective, transparent, and just supervision of the democracy, freedom, and rule of law in the new federal state of China. Those from the Himalaya Supervising Organization who violate the clauses above will be subject to the most severe punishment imposed by the new Chinese government, the United States government, and any other government so therein. The Himalaya Supervisory Organization and other organizations in accordance with the law. The June 4th incident, also known as the Tiananmen Square massacre, is the most significant and far-reaching democratic movement and student movement in China's modern history. Therefore, the Himalaya Supervising Organization chose June 4th, this special date in China, to solemnly proclaim the new federal state of China declaration. The second appendix to this declaration is the evil nature of the Chinese Communist Party. Since the Chinese Communist Party became the ruling power of China in 1949, they have initiated brutal political campaigns. They have failed to do land reform. They've suppressed counter-revolution. They've failed to do land reform. They've suppressed counter-revolution. They've initiated the Great Leap Forward, the Cultural Revolution, the one-child policy, etc., etc. It's total, hundreds of millions of people have died prematurely under the hands of the Chinese Communist Party. What more, they've destroyed thousands of years of moral culture, of Chinese tradition, destroyed Chinese upper classes, and destroyed the social foundations of the Chinese people. After the Tiananmen Square massacre in the year 1989, the Chinese Communist Party regime cheated the United States and other Western countries, eventually gaining their trust to join the World Trade Organization. They generated enormous amounts of wealth by selling and exploiting the cheap slave labor forced upon the innocent Chinese people, ensuing heavy pollution and destroying the lands, rivers, and lakes of China. Nevertheless, not only did the CCP fail to share the wealth with their own people, it has become continuously and unscrupulously stealing national assets on a daily basis and wealth to transfer to overseas accounts in their countless children, mistresses, and other proxies. Defying the rule of law and justice, the Chinese Communist Party has been running a false state, a mafia state, a gangster state, a police state, and a corrupted state. The Chinese Communist Party willfully and illegally plundered and confiscated the property of private entrepreneurs and caused countless wrongful convictions, such as Nia Shubin. They also undermined the 50-year commitment to Hong Kong on the one country, two systems, violently repressed, tortured, and killed Hong Kong citizens who are defending freedom and democracy. They are ramping up their arms, threatening neighboring countries, flexing their muscles. Furthermore, they have resorted to using unrestricted warfare by developing this deadly bioweapon virus, covering up the truth, and spreading the virus to over 180 countries worldwide. Millions of people are now infected, hundreds of thousands are dead, trillions of dollars of wealth has been destroyed against enormous social cost, all caused by the Chinese Communist Party. The Rule of Law Foundation, the Rule of Law Society, similar to many other charitable organizations, the Rule of Law Foundation or Rule of Law Society are nonprofit corporations under the Internal Revenue Service, domiciled in New York State, existing under the supervision of the State Attorney of New York. The vision is to ensure the Chinese people live in the federal state of China under the rule of law, religious freedom, freedom of speech, freedom of assembly, private property, and land reform. This is the goal of the Rule of Law Society and the Rule of Law Foundation, is to ensure that the rule of law one day, to the degree that we can help and assist, is one day executed in China. Its mission is to expose the corruption and illegal practices of the Chinese Communist Party, the political, legal, commercial, and financial systems under Chinese Communist Party one-state rule, and to supervise and expose all kinds, numerous illegal activities that take place in the Commonwealth of China. The new federal state of China, the new government, the new constitution, under the supervision and advocacy of the Himalaya Supervising Organization, the new federal state of China will be a land without the Chinese Communist Party. It is the single mandate of the federal state of China with the Himalaya Supervising Organization to rid the Chinese Communist Party from its dictatorship over the Chinese people. The Chinese people will elect their ruling powers through the one-person, one-vote system. The new government will be elected by all Chinese citizens through one-person, one-vote. All citizens have the right to form political parties to take part in the elections, and any political party must be supported by legitimate votes to be eligible to participate in a national level election. A new constitution and set of laws will be based on Western laws, including British common law and law in the United States and the United States case law, and will be voted on by referendum. The Constitution will be defined and limit the government's rights and functions while simultaneously protecting citizens' rights and interests. Number two is to establish a modern government with separation of powers. The executive branch, the legislative branch, the judicial branch are kept separate to ensure checks and balances. The government shall be elected through one person, one vote, and be free of control or manipulation by any political party or leader of any interest group. The government and physical parties shall be open and transparent to the entire public and all citizens of China and subject to direct supervision. Financial disclosures from the government officials is mandatory. 3, reparations. By way and through investigations into the unjust, false, and arbitrary cases during the Cultural Revolution, the Tiananmen Square massacre, corruption during the anti-corruption movement, as well as all other political movements, the compensation to the victims by law will be the return of personal and corporate assets that have been confiscated illegally under international law and practices, grant amnesty for the Chinese Communist Party members and other prisoners except those who are indicted with capital crimes and crimes of humanity. The trials will be set up for the kleptocrats. Also, they will retrieve and recover all assets that have been taken or transferred by the former leaders of the Chinese Communist Party, and particularly where they've been transferred out of the country, and particularly where they've been transferred to their families to get the wealth out of China and to steal from the Chinese people. Similar to the federated system of the United States, where the federal government holds the sovereignty, the states hold the sovereignty, all individual states enjoy full autonomy. The new government, Hong Kong, Macau, and Tibet shall enjoy solemn and independent autonomy under the federal government, while Taiwan will be able to continuously enjoy its current political status and system. To further learn from the British government in Hong Kong, before 1997, China will readopt aspects of the open and free social environment and social management systems. Hong Kong, Macau, Tibet shall be able to enjoy all government jurisdiction except for national defense. On the basis of never changing the status quo with regard to Taiwan, the future new government and the people of both sides on Taiwan Straits will vote together to make the decisions. This is further ensure that the peoples of Hong Kong manage and administer Hong Kong. I want to repeat that. This is to ensure that the people of Hong Kong manage and administer Hong Kong, while the people of Taiwan manage and administer Taiwan, and the Tibetan people administer Tibet. 5, signs of 1,000-year peace treaty. Countries around the world based on equivalent, reciprocal, permanent, and measurable principles. The new administration shall establish an organization on a permanent peace, coexistence, and legally bind international cooperation committees. This is to make sure that the new federal state of China is saying that they're not an aggressive power, they're not going to be an expansionist power. What they're trying to do is to organize special zones with Tibet, Macau, Hong Kong, and then work out something with Taiwan, but they do not and will not be an expansionist power. The permanent peace treaty should cover elements of economy, finance, technology, culture, education, intellectual property, market reciprocity, and resource mobilization. The new government holds the spirit of openness, diversity, and embraces and encourages international cooperation. National security and sovereignty are exceptional. New China will permanently open to and exchange with the world under the premise of equality and freedom in the areas of government, structure, and management, customs, education, culture, sports, and media, regardless of race, of gender, of age, of nationality, of religious beliefs. Talents will have equal employment opportunity and can move freely across national boundaries to achieve reciprocal and mutual beneficial development with the world. Implement a self-defense oriented national defense policy. Unless attributed to the top secret of national security, China's national defense must be completely open and transparent to the world and become a military guarding force for millennium of peace between China and the rest of the world. They will work with all countries of the world, the United Nations, and led by the United States to establish a permanent peaceful defense mechanism that does not harm anyone, establishes long-term mutual trust and mutual supervision. All the offenders will be treated as military. Under no circumstances should the military be allowed to participate in politics, warlord separatism, or the suppression of civilians for reasons such as martial law or violent control. All offenders will be treated as military rebels and public enemies of the country, and the participants will be deprived of all economic, political, and social rights. The federal government and the local governments will carry out military strikes against rebels without authorization. To protect citizens' freedom of religion, the new federal state will make legislation and regulations on practicing religion, preaching religion, and the separation of church and state. It will prohibit the misuse of religion as a means to serve the state and to engage in fraudulent affairs with the purpose of acquiring wealth. And that is basically it, sir. Thank you so much.
Has it finished?
Yeah, just finished. I want to repeat that this was drafted up by a drafting committee made up of Chinese citizens that are now living throughout the world. They want their freedom and want freedom for their country. It's an extraordinary document. It's been worked on for 6 months by the Chinese, and I'm very honored to be asked to be an advisor to the Himalaya Supervisory Committee. Very honored that people put in so much time and so much effort, and this is the start of a new day in China.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Miles.
Very much. Thank you very much.
Great work.